In this video, I'm going to show you how to make this beautiful user interface using the React.js library. The demo is available on this URL. You can find it in the description box below. So let's take a look. So the design is inspired by this dribble shot. So the credit for the design goes to Ron E. You can check him out. This guy right here. This is not exactly pixel perfect design, but it is inspired by this particular shot. So this side of the page was supposed to be some branding or marketing stuff, but while developing it I sort of got bored and left it blank, so you guys can probably fill it in on your own, because that's just some trivial HTML and CSS. So at the core of it, this represents a sign in and sign up page for any sort of web application or a website. At the top here we have a toggle or a switch that we can use to switch between the two states, the sign up or the sign in page. As we change this, you can see that the URL changes and the states of these links also change. You can also use these links to switch between the two pages, and the state of this toggle button will automatically change. So when it comes to functionality, I have it actually implemented a full Ajax backend solution. So all we have is we can enter in the information, click on agree, and then click sign up, and then in the console we will get that the form was submitted and the data will be logged onto the console. And from here, instead of just logging to the console, you can obviously send an Ajax request to the server to save the data and save this user to the database or whatever, however you want to handle that. And very similarly, on the sign in page you can do the same. So if I open up the console and clear it, if I click sign in, it says the form was submitted and the data of email and password will be logged on to the console. And you have these links to switch between the pages as well. I'm not going to make you watch the whole process of me writing HTML and CSS. So I'm not going to make you watch each and every line of HTML and CSS as I write them. So if you want, you can check out this GitHub repository and you can check out the code, and you can clone the repository and copy the HTML and CSS however you want. The link will also be in the description box below. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so I am in this tutorials folder. I'm going to start with scaffolding the React application, and in order to do that I'm going to use a first package tool called Create React App. And the way it works is you first need to have Node.js installed on your machine. If it's not, you can just go to nodejs.org and click download and install it on your PC. Once you have Node installed on your machine, you can just go ahead and do npm install -g create react app, or alternatively, if you use yarn, you can use yarn global add create react app. Okay, so I have already installed it on my computer, so I can just go ahead and do create react app, and I'm just going to name it sign up sign in UI and hit enter. Okay, once that's done, you can just go ahead and open it in your text editor. Alright, so once you are in that particular folder, you can just go ahead and do yarn start, and that will automatically set up a local server on your machine, and you can continue from here. As you can see that it has started a local server on localhost port 3001. It may be the case that for you this might be 3000, but I already have 3000 being used on my computer, so that's why it's defaulting to 3001. And you can see that it has already started up the server. Okay, so now if you open this source directory, you can see that you have multiple files here, and if you go to the app.js, that's where your app component is. Actually, let's just go ahead and go into the index.js, and you can see that the app folder is being rendered here, which is being imported from this file. So this file is sort of like your root application component. And now if you want to make any kind of change to this page, that's where it's being rendered from. So you can change anything from here, and that will be reflected in the browser. So let's just clear this out and say hello world, and let's just go to the app.css file, and you can notice that it's being imported from here, and you can just get rid of everything else. There is another file called index.css, and that is where all your root styles go. So if you want to apply something to body or everything, like for instance I like to do star box sizing border box, that's where you can do it. And app CSS is where you can put your other styles. Okay, while I'm here, I'm just going to paste some basic styles that I'd like to start with. So you can see that I'm importing Roboto font from then I'm setting every element's font family Roboto, and then I'm setting margin and padding to 0 of the body, and this is a utility class that says margin right 20. So pretty basic stuff. I'm gonna save it and close that. And in the app.css, I'm going to paste all the styles that we're going to use in this particular application, because I don't want you to watch me write every single style in this file, because it's way too long and it's just not the point of the video. So I'm gonna close that. I'm in the app.js file now, and I'm not using the logo.svg file, so I can just get rid of it, and I can go ahead and delete it from the project folder. There you go. So now I'm inside the app.js file, and now we can continue our developments here. First of all, we're going to have two sections, app aside and app form. And if I save this and look at it in the browser, you can see that it will, because we pasted the CSS here in this folder, this 142 or 43 lines of CSS, this is already covered in that CSS. So these classes are generating these styles here. Alright, so now we are looking for the button or the switch that you saw in the demo. How can we create that? Alright, so I'm just going to paste the HTML necessary to generate that toggle switch that you saw in the demo, and as you can see that it's pretty simple. It's a div with two anchor tags. The one says sign in and the other says sign up, and I forgot to put a class here, so it's going to have a class. Both of them are going to have the class of page switcher item, and one of them is going to be active, you can see here. And so I'm going to save this and look at it in the browser, and you can see that it's being rendered perfectly. Alright, at this point now I'm going to want to create that sign up and sign in links that you saw in the demo. Okay, so for that I'm just going to paste some other piece of HTML, and that will take care of the styling of this element. I'm just going to paste this piece of HTML to kickstart the form, and as you can see, this will generate a label and an input box. So I can just go ahead and replicate this form field to have as many fields as I want. So for now, I'm just going to need a password field. Password, type password, enter your password, name, password. Alright, so that will generate another field. And now if you want the third field, all you need to do is paste, and this one is for email address. Type is email, ID, email, class name, password, enter your email, name, email. Okay, so save, and that will generate another field. Okay, so now I'm looking for a checkbox with a label with it. For the checkbox with a label, I'm just going to paste this piece of HTML, and that will take care of that particular problem. And as you can see, that it will generate this. Okay, and for the button, I'm just going to paste this piece of HTML, and that will take care of it. Okay, so I'm just missing a wrapping element on this checkbox. There we go. Save this. That will take care of the proper spacing. Okay, so now that we have a form, let's just go ahead and take care of this navigation. So we are on the sign up page, but we would like to be able to go to sign in page to well sign in. How can we do that? For that, I'm going to use what's called a router, and a router is a piece of code or a library or a first party package that will allow you to be able to say /sign in and go to a separate page without having to reload the entire page. And for that, I'm going to use the React Router DOM. So in order to install it, I'm going to go ahead and open a new tab and say yarn add React Router DOM. While it's doing its thing, let's just go ahead and set it up. I'm just going to import the browser router as router and route from React Router DOM. Okay, so that's installed. So now, first of all, I can just go ahead and wrap everything here around a router. And after that, then I can go to the particular element that I would like to change when the route is changed. And in this case, I just want to go ahead and switch out this form center to a different form when I go ahead and change the route. And so I'm just going to go ahead and wrap this around route. And then I'm going to give it a path. So when should this route be rendered? When I would say when the path is / and not only slash, when it's exactly slash, so that way it won't match anything slash I don't know, hello or sign in or something. So that will go ahead and conditionally render this piece of HTML whenever this route is matched. And we can go ahead and create another route. And give it another path. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and give it a sign in. And whenever the sign in route is matched, let's just go ahead and say sign in, save, and refresh the page. There we go, sign in. And then I'm just going to go ahead and make this a link. And to be sure, I'm talking about this sign in button. And I'm going to give it a to attribute. In React it's called a prop, so I'm just going to go ahead and give it a to prop of slash sign in. So whenever this button or whenever this link is clicked, it will go to the sign in route. Okay, so save, and okay, link is not defined. Oh yes, so I'm just going to go ahead and import this link component from the React Router DOM. So now whenever I click this, it will go to the sign in page, and you can see that this sign in header is being shown, but it's being shown here, which is not exactly what we want. We want to make this go away and then show this. So what did we miss here exactly? Oh yes, so this is not exactly how you do it. Sorry about that. What you need to do is give it a component, and for instance like this, sign up form, and then cut this and create another component called sign up form. And how do you create another component? Well, let's go ahead and import a component called sign up form from, and I'm just going to go ahead and create a pages subfolder, and inside of here sign up form. So let's go ahead and create another folder called pages, and under pages let's go ahead and create a file called signupform.js, and I'm going to go ahead and import React and component from React. I'm going to create a class called sign up form, and that will extend from component. Then I'm going to export that, and finally I'm going to create a render function, and that will return. Okay, so let's go ahead and save this. And reload the page. Okay, confound page. Okay, so there you go. So now if I click on sign in, I'm on the sign in page. So let's just make this functional as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and change this to link to slash, and then I'm going to change this to link. Let it refresh, and when I go ahead and click sign up, it goes to the sign up page, and when notice the URL is being changed there, so I can go ahead and switch. But there's a problem. Whenever I'm on the sign up page, I can always see the sign in header. That's because I couldn't create another separate component for this one. So I can go ahead and create a component, call it sign in form, save that, and then just like before, I can import it. So I'm just going to create another one, sign in form.js. I'm going to copy most of the code from here to here, and I'm going to change the sign up to sign in form, and change the sign up reference here to sign in. Save this, and instead of having 3 or 4 fields, I'm just going to get rid of this checkbox and this, change this sign up button to sign in, and instead of I'm already a member, let's go ahead and do create an account, and email address and password, but let's just switch the places, and I'm just going to get rid of this name field. Okay, so if you save this, and okay, so it's, as you can see, that it's working. So whenever I'm on the sign in page, I can see the email address and password and sign in button and create an account, and whenever I'm sign up on the sign up page or the default home page, I can just see the 3 fields and the checkbox. So now what I like to do is I like to make these buttons functional. So I'm gonna go to the app file and go to where these are being, so you can see that we switched those to link, and we have this active class for this, well, active state of the button or the link. So what we want is whenever I'm on the sign in page, I want this active class to appear here. So for that, this, instead of using link, I'm just going to use navlink. I'm going to use another prop called active class name, and then give it this, the name of the active class, like so. And so whenever the URL matches this sign in route, it will automatically apply this form link active class, and I need to do the same here. Active class name, form title __ link -- active. And because the slash route matches even when I'm on the sign in page, I want to specify that I want this matching to be exact. So when I save, look at the page, navlink is not defined because I didn't reference it up on the, well, the reference list, so to speak, navlink. So I'm importing the navlink from React Router DOM. What's this? Well, anyway, let's go ahead and save this and see where we get. The sign up is active even when I'm on sign in page. Why is that? Because I have it applied on the class name. I can get rid of this, and that should fix the problem. So now, not exactly. So I didn't switch this to navlink. navlink. Save this, and now you can see that it's properly working. So now what about this? I want this to work as well. Let's go to the page switcher and switch this to navlink to /sign in active class name. Let's just give it the active class name and change this to navlink. Just copy this and paste it here, and go ahead and change these references, make this exact, and instead of sign in I want sign up. Save this, and that should make it work. So we can now switch, and as you can see that because, well, it's React, it's automatically being synced across these links. So now I want these to work as well. So one last time, let's go to the sign in form, and instead of let's go make it a link and make it sign in. Instead of href, I'm going to use toprop and change this reference to link. But we haven't imported it on the top, so import link from React router DOM. Save that. Now let's switch over to sign up form and do the same. Link to slash I'm already a member, sign in. So I think yeah, on the sign in page this should be slash, and on the sign up form it should be sign in link, and we gotta import it on the top, so link from React router DOM. Save that, and now if you take a look, you can just refresh the page. So we can go ahead and switch it from here as well. Alright, so now at this point I want these forms to work. So basically I'm not looking for the entire sort of Ajax kind of functionality, but what I'm trying to do is basically get these values whenever I click on the sign in button and log it to the console. So as a proof of concept, whenever we need to submit it to the server, we can easily do it. Alright, so now I'm going to switch over to the sign in form, and what I need to do is go ahead and create a constructor, and this constructor we'll call the super method, and that will call the constructor of the component. That's how constructors work. And I can go ahead and set a state, and I'm going to set the email and password. The state has two properties called email and password, and they're both empty. And now I want to bind them to these inputs. Let's go ahead and say input value this dot state dot email and value this dot state dot password, and whenever it's changed I want to call this dot handle change. So I'm going to create a function on the, or a method on the class that will handle the change of these values. Whenever this input is changed, this method is going to be called. So I'm going to go to the constructor and set this dot handle change to equal this dot handle change dot bind this. Now I can create a handle change method, and I'm going to accept the event, and I'm just going to paste this, and let me explain. So first of all, I'm going to select the target element. So whenever this input is changed, the target element is this particular input. So this is the input, the value is the value of the input, and the name is, well, the name of the input, the name attribute on the inputs. And whenever it's changed, I'm just going to reset the states with that particular name. So for instance, if email is changed, I'm going to set this dot state dot email's value to the value of the input. So I can easily change these values, and if I head on over to the React tab here, this is a Chrome extension that you can install, which will make your development process a lot easier. So I can just browse these components like so, and when I'm on the sign in page, well, I don't think it's saved, so let's go ahead and save this. And now if you open this up, you can see that the email and the password is being changed on the state. So now when I click on the submit button, or whenever the form is submitted, I can handle that on submit, this dot handle submit. Let's go ahead and do handle submits up here, and then let's go ahead and create that handle submit. And I'm going to prevent the default behavior of the browser. Then I'm just going to go ahead and do console log. The form was submitted with the following data, and I'm just going to log the states data. Save that, and I refresh, and now whenever I input something, email, password, and submit it on the, okay, so john@example.com, click sign in, and you can see the correct data is being submitted. By the way, this right here, this is redundant, we don't need that, so I'm just gonna get rid of this. That's why the error was, that's why there was showing an error here. But well, anyways, as you can see, now we can submit the sign-in form. What about sign-up form? Well, we can spend a little bit more time and see how we can accomplish this without copying the code. But in this case, because it's just 2 of these and the functionality is not that much, I can just go ahead and copy this and sign up, go to the sign up form and paste this whole thing, because it's mostly the same. We have a state, and instead of just 2, I'm going to have 4 values. So email, password, name, and has agreed, and this will be set to false by default. We have these 2 methods, and we are handling the change the very same way. And you can see that we are checking if the type of the target or the input is a checkbox. If so, we are checking whether or not the checkbox is checked or not. And the other functionality is exactly the same, and we are handling the submit functionality in exactly the same manner. And I can just go ahead and do on submit this dot handle submit. Alright, so input here, the name input is going to have the on change event set to this dot handle change, and the value is going to be set to this state name. Now I can just go ahead and copy this and paste it in here. Instead of name, I can simply change it to password and then email. Save that. And for the checkbox, it's exactly the same. The name, the value is going to be bound to this state as agreed, and the on change is going to be bound to this dot handle change. And whenever this is submitted, we're going to log it to the console. Alright, so let's wait for it to refresh, and let's name it John Doe secret John at example.com, and I'm going to click the agree all statements and then click sign up. So you can see the form was submitted, the appropriate data has been logged on to the console. So from here now, for instance, if you're on the sign up form, you can go here, and then instead of doing this, you can just do an Axios request. If you're using Axios, Axios.post, and post to it some sort of URL, and save the data on your server, and then handle validation or do anything you want. But this is how you basically can create this simple setup of a sign in and sign up form.